You're watching Two Wheels TV, and at the recent Day of Champions event held at Swartkorps, a very special machine made an appearance. It's the Proton KR3 500cc Grand Prix machine, and it's priceless. Well, as you can see, the KR3 simply steams past the rest of the bikes. But let's go back a few days to the Midvaal racetrack for a shakedown test of this motorcycle. For the first run of the bike, we leave the bodywork off so that we can see how she's working. Oil leaks, water leaks, that type of thing. Wouldn't you be nervous to ride a priceless motorcycle? And the last time it ran was at the Czechoslovakian Grand Prix many years ago. Do not be deceived by the quiet engine noise, the 3-cylinder 2-stroke. It's an art just to get the bike out of the pit lane. Running in period for a motorcycle can be critical. Not too many revs, but at the same time you need to get some heat into the tires, and much more importantly, heat into the carbon fiber front brakes. All is well, without oil leaks or water leaks. And the owner of this glorious motorcycle is Durban-based Rory Nesbitt. Helping us today is Paul Bremner, an old school friend. Let's go back a year when the bikes first arrived in Durban. Two ex-racers are pretty excited about some bikes that have arrived from America in South Africa. These are the factory KR3 machines. Kenny Roberts, in the mid-1990s, decided he had had enough of racing with the Japanese factory teams and decided to build his own bikes.
Williams, as always, is upbeat about the challenge, but it's going to be...
The riders chosen by Kenny were Irishman Jeremy McWilliams and Japanese rider Nobi Aoki. This was the era that the 4-stroke machines arrived at MotoGP, so one could say that Kenny was a bit late in developing the KR3's 2-stroke 500cc Grand Prix bikes up against the 1000cc 4-strokes. And these were the engines that propelled those bikes to speeds of well over 300 kilometers per hour. They actually built 3 versions of this bike, all 3-cylinder 500s with different configurations though. Handmade, but to factory specifications. Gorgeous pieces of work. Rory Nesbitt can't wait to get his hands on these beautiful machines and restore them at this warehouse in Durban. He's had long negotiations with King Kenny himself in acquiring these machines, and they really are a piece of Grand Prix history.
I always wanted to own a 500cc, and I had a look at a Harris and a couple of others, but there was no real proper works bikes. Robbie Petersen and Dave Petersen very kindly managed to do a deal with Kenny Roberts, and the deal is basically that when the bikes are built, he can ride one at any time.
I've been based in America the whole year with Cam, who was riding the Moto America series, and sitting in the caravan one day and got an email from brother Dave, and he wanted to know if he'd been speaking to his old sparring partner, Rory Nesbitt, about maybe buying a 500.
They are the genuine racing bikes. They raced in the last race ever, which the one was in Portugal, and the other one was a Czech Grand Prix in 2003.
I got hold of my old boss, and his initial reaction was, "You got to be kidding, there are no ways," And then spoke to him a little bit more, and told him a little bit about Rory's background, and then he started thinking about it more, and the appealing thing was, well, he could come and maybe have a ride on the bike once in a while, and one thing led to another, and here we are in Durban, and the bikes have arrived, and big excitement, yeah.
So it's taken Rory more than a year to rebuild the Proton KR3. Literally every nut and bolt was stripped off the motorcycle, every engine component was checked or replaced. Time to get back out on the track with the bodywork in place and up the pace ever so slightly. Gear shift pattern is a race shift, 1 up and 5 down, with an electronic quick shifter to make things easier. So what happens when you take 185 horsepower combined with around 120 kilograms of mass? You get one scary motorcycle. It's quite incredible that this little 500cc 3-cylinder engine, which was developed almost 20 years ago, makes that kind of power. The other amazing part of that story is it's usable power. You quite simply roll the throttle on and you keep waiting for this massive bang, this power band that's going to come in. It's as flat as a pancake. It just keeps revving all the way up to 12,000 RPM. So that's what technology jumped to at the end of the 500cc racing era. The technology had jumped to this. This was the last ever successful 500cc 2-stroke Grand Prix motorbike. The performance of this bike is, well, it's a race bike. Everything about this little motorcycle is designed for one thing and one thing only. That is to go fast around a racetrack. Every component on the bike, there is absolutely nothing on this bike that is there for frills and bits and pieces. Everything is just to make this bike go faster around a racetrack. The KR3 was certainly impressive competing against the 4-strokes in the early 2000s. We've encountered a slight problem. Wade looks down in the pit lane.
That 500 3-cylinder is using almost a litre a lap of fuel around this track, so of course we didn't put enough fuel in, so ran out of fuel at the farthest point. Anyway, you forget how thirsty these 500s are. Almost a litre a lap. Bit of a long walk back, but what a great bike.
The fuel we are using is a special brew of 110 octane leaded fuel with 2-stroke mix running at 30-1 with Motul 800 road race fuel. But let's get a reaction from Rory Nesbitt.
Today's really special. It's been a year rebuilding it, and it's been a rebuild from one nut and bolt right up to a complete motorcycle. And it's like working on a Swiss watch, I mean, everything's titanium, magnesium, carbon fiber. It's like something out of heaven type of thing.
And Rory, you can't just go down to the local hardware store or motorbike shop and buy something for it, can you?
You're quite right, and I was very lucky to get a certain amount of spares with it. So basically what it is now, it's in 100% perfect condition. It's got new parts, and it's ready to go in a Grand Prix, and I'm very happy. Apart from a shim in the clutch, basically it's run from word go, and we can't even get into the electronics on it, so it's basically got the settings for the 2003 Czechoslovakian Grand Prix. So I'm very happy, Dave, really.
Well, that's Rory Nesbitt, the owner of this glorious motorbike. He's got another couple tucked away in his garage back in Durban as well. And Kenny Roberts, if you're watching this, take a good look at your motorbike. It really is a work of art.
And the KR3 makes its first public appearance at the Day of Champions held at the Swartkorps Raceway, where there were some very noisy motorcycles as well. The KR3, one of the quietest bikes out there, but certainly the fastest. And we'll bring you highlights of the Day of the Champions in weeks to come, right here on Two Wheels TV.